Thanks for joining me here today. My name's Wallace and I'm here because I'm looking for new players for Birmingham Spritzee for the new season of the Pokemon Premier League. Now, last season we didn't do too well, we only finished 5th, but this season I think we can get off to a great start. But for that to happen, I'm gonna need your help. Do not worry, I, Gallade Megaform, shall certainly be able to aid you on your quest. Just tell me who it is you want to punch in the face and I shall go about it with my utmost dignity. Oh, sir, you have picked the right person to smash some faces in this season. Ha ha! Fantastic! That's brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to have you on board. But what about you, Salamence? We could really use your help this season as well. What do you say? Is that a yes? I'm not really sure. Alright then. How is it going, guys? My name is Wanty Bennett, King of the Late Uploads, and I am back at it again with another season of the Pokemon Premier League. Now, this is Division 2, Season 5. We've been going on for a very long time, and we've had some fantastic matches in that time. And this one is going to be another one, because our season is kicking off with a match against my old enemy, ShroomRaver. Now, ShroomRaver is the person I have played the most on the opening day of any season ever, which I find absolutely ridiculous, because 3 of the seasons I've played in, I've played ShroomRaver first. For some reason, the Fates just want us to be playing together in the first game, and it's really, really strange. But I ain't complaining because we always have fantastic matches that are always decided by either hacks or just bad plays on one of our parts, or bad prep. Basically, anything can happen, so you better stick around for the result. Now, speaking of ShroomRaver, you guys better go and check him out. There will be a link down in the description for him and his channel, just so you can go and see his alternating viewpoint, because he's a fantastic content creator, one of the best in our little community, I would say, and I think that he's worth any bit of attention that he can possibly get, so go down there and check him out. But also down in that description, there will be a link to my draft analysis, so that you can see my entire team, what I brought from that draft, compared to what I could have brought, basically all the missing gaps in my team. As you can see, I've got the 6 Pokemon here, but there are 11 that I have in my draft in total, and I didn't pick 5 of them because basically they didn't have good matchups. But if you also want to know a little bit more about what I brought and why I brought it, there will be a nice little paste bin down in the description, taking you to a link of my team and a couple of thoughts around it. Basically a little bit of insight into why I brought those Pokemon and not anything else on my draft. Now, having taken a quick little look at his team before the game, I noticed, why did I not prep for PriMarina? I basically looked at PriMarina and thought, I don't really know what this thing does, and kind of subconsciously just blocked it out of my memory because I knew it wasn't going to be massively OU and massively strong. But now, the more I look at it, it had a fantastic matchup against my team. It could hit like everything I had super effectively. Its typing was very frustrating for me, and it just gave me a very, very bad time. The fact that it had Energy Ball as well made it even more threatening to me, because it could also then threaten what would supposedly be my Water Switch in Seismitoad. So that just absolutely cooked me right from the get-go. Now, another thing that I see he brought had to be the Ditto, because I've been known to have fairly decent success with Ditto in the past in draft format, and it's gone quite well for me when I brought it. And Shroom being Shroom is like, yeah, I'm not going to get set up on by a Salamence, I'm not going to get set up on by a Gallade, I'm going to bring a cheeky Ditto, and I'm going to stop you from doing things. So yeah, that's a thing. He also has the Mesprit, which is probably going to be bringing Stealth Rocks, because everyone likes using Mesprit as like a slow, bulky Stealth Rock setter. Crobat, not really sure what it was here to do. I assumed just the defog, in case he wanted to set rocks up and stop, rocks going in. But the more I looked at, I didn't really gloss over this team select, because obviously I'm just trying to make note of what the opponent has. I'm not really thinking about what the team synergy could be, which I'm starting to learn a little bit more. But it would have made not much sense at all to bring Crobat here as a defogger, when it would be the only thing itself that gets hit super effectively by the Stealth Rocks, if you get what I mean. There's no point bringing one defogger to a team that the defogger is the only thing that is weak to the rocks. I don't know if I've worded that correctly, but I'm just going to roll with it anyway. Megalopony is Megalopony, hits hard, and Zygarde is Zygarde. Fun fact, I didn't have a single switch in for Zygarde apart from Silvally on my draft, so I thought I am just going to bring Silvally Grass, and he's going to prep for it, but I have to just deal with it, and I have to be bog standard with that one. Mega Lopunny also didn't really have anything to switch into. Ironically, the best switch in I had for Mega Lopunny was Silvally Psychic, but if I'm bringing Silvally Grass, I can't bring Silvally Psychic, so I've had to bring Babiri Berry Clefable to deal with that one. Now, I'm just going to stop rambling now and tell you that I'm going to lead off with, you know what, I can't even remember what I led with. It's been that long, I can't even remember. I think I lead with my Heatran, and he's going to lead with the PriMarina, and it's going to be fun times. But let's actually just get into the match and see what happens when I took on ShroomRaver for the first time in a good few months for the opening game of Pokemon Premier League in Division 2 Season 5. Pokemon trainer Leanne is challenging me to a battle, and Leanne is actually Shroom's person. It's someone else's DS. He's had to borrow it because he doesn't have the game completed. But I was correct. I'll lead off with the Heatran, see there's a PriMarina in front of me, and have to make an aggressive switch immediately to go out into Silvally. And he goes for the Scold. Luckily, I do not get burnt, which would have made my multi-attack really frustrating. And I'm just going to fire off a parting shot to see if this thing has outsped me. It has not. And unfortunately, it's going to stay in, which indicates to me it has Ice Beam. So I'm just going to go straight out into my Clefable, tank this Ice Beam, take it very well considering PriMarina is very offensive on the special side. And he's then just going to pull a switch out into his Mesprit to try and see what kind of thing I am and to probably get his own rocks up. So I see a Mesprit in front of me, I can't really touch this thing and I don't want to get Toxic by it, so I'm just going to pull a switch out predicting the Toxic and go out into Heatran. And yeah, obviously he's then going to set up the rocks. I'm going to Toxic this Mesprit because any kind of Whittle, any kind of chip on a Mesprit is good, and he's going to reveal Hidden Power Fighting, not Hidden Power Ground. If that was Hidden Power Ground, I'd be in a much worse situation. I assume Hidden Power Fighting was for any other kind of Silvally I could have brought. But I'm going to go for a Toxic, expecting him to outspeed me, which he does not. So I've just ended up Toxicking an already Toxic Mesprit, and he's going to pull the switch out into the Zygarde. Now, at this point, I'm going to stop it. Because, yeah, stop it now. Because Zygarde sitting in front of me is practically begging me to go out into Silvally. But at this point, I have two options. I either go out into Silvally or I protect. And if I protect here and he sets up a Dragon Dance, I practically just, like, I have to hope that he doesn't have some kind of massively offensive set that has, like, Yarshay Berry. Because then he just beats me with Outrage. And once he beats my Silvally switching down. So I'm not even going to risk him going for a Dragon Dance as I protect. And I'm just going to make sure that I pull out the switch out into my Silvally Grass. And this is going to be a prominent theme. Silvally Grass is going to have to come in every single time that Zygarde is anywhere near the field. And this is going to leave me exploited. It's going to be easily exploited by Shroom. It's going to leave me vulnerable to any kind of switch-ins, like possibly to the Crobat. So I'm in a bad position already. Now he pulls out his switch out into Mesprit, obviously expecting some kind of Ice Beam, and I'm going to defog those rocks away. But now his Rock Setter is back in against me, so I'm going to go for a multi-attack just to kind of gauge what kind of damage output I do, and that proves to me that this is fairly physically defensive. Not necessarily 252 defense, 252 HP, but it's fairly defensive. And he's going to U-turn and out on there, super effective damage against me, and now he has his Lopunny in. And I'm going to pull a switch out into my Salamence, because if I don't pull a switch out into Salamence and get the Intimidate off, this thing is going to kill something, and I'm going to be on the back foot immediately. Salamence is going to have to pretty much be a fodder at some point if I'm not careful. Now, that did a lot even at -1 from the Lopunny, because Mega Lopunny is an absolute tank in that regard. It just takes, like, it doesn't take massive amounts of hits. It's not the bulkiest thing in the world, but it hits ridiculously hard. It's a sledgehammer. And even my fairly defensive, fairly HP invested Salamence isn't going to enjoy that. My Flainium Z is too important to pop here, because, to be honest, I didn't want to risk this thing outspeeding me and just ice punching me. I can't risk it switching up moves and just, I can't risk it having Ice Punch, so I was literally only switching in there to get the -1 attack, and I'm just going to get the heck on out of there. But he's not going to risk it. He's not going to risk me being Scarf and having something like, oh, I don't know, Aerial Ace or some ball. or having Yachi Berry and just knocking it straight out. And he's going to pull the switch out into Mesprit, assuming maybe to take some kind of hit, and I'm just going to go out into Clefable because it was the only thing I had left that could take a hit. I was possibly going to have to Moonblast it and then get on out, but that was literally the only thing I can do. He's going to U-turn on my my Clefable, and I'm going to go for that Moonblast, and it's going to do a decent chunk, but this Crobat, man, this Crobat was such a pain because I'm going to go out into Heatran thinking, oh, I can take anything this thing wants to do, and I'm going to take it well. No, I am not. That Brave Bird is going to do ridiculous amounts of damage, actually 2-hit KOing me from where I am at this point. And I'm like, what? You brought Banded Crobat, and it makes so much sense looking at my team now. I have so little switch-ins to that Bird Swamp that it's ridiculous, but he's going to know I'm going to try and protect there. And he's going to pull this switch out into PriMarina. I then protect on his attack and get a little bit of leftovers chip back because that's the important thing. Now, he hasn't revealed that he has the Energy Ball here, and I assume he's maybe going to try and smack me, but he just does the fairly predictable prediction, if you get what I mean. Like, it's fairly obvious to anyone there that he's going to switch up moves because I've protected, and the move he's used is going to then knock out my Heatran, but I have to then switch out to save Heatran because Heatran's kind of important in this matchup as at least being able to take one hit from the Crobat. The annoying thing for me though is I didn't have another play. Because my prep for this game, in my opinion looking back, was not fantastic, I've left myself open to having to make fairly predictable plays and not risking throwing the game early. So my Seismitoad's going to come in here, he's going to Energy Ball it, pop my Rindo Berry, and I'm going to get my Rocks up next turn and just let Ojama Blue go down. And because Ojama Blue has been destroyed and sent to the graveyard, I can add two Ojama cards from my deck to my hand. God, Yu-Gi-Oh! Jokes are not funny. Neither am I. Oh well. Yeah. I've gone down, and I'm going to go out into Clefable, who is like the best option that I have left being able to hit this thing. I did not want to risk having to go into my Gallade and not, like, I'm failing to knock it out, and I'm just going to Wish Up as he's trying his hardest to take me out. I'm just going to, you know, take some hits. I'm going to set up a Calm Mind next turn, I believe, and now I'm at +1/+1. I can start setting up and do things to this. Well, this PriMarina, because he's not really going to go into Ditto at this point because he can't really beat me. Not with Ditto, at least, because I only have Moonblast as my attacking move, and I'm kind of free to set up here because my protects on both Heatran and this just mean that I can stall it out and then just kind of beat it that way. But he's going to catch me on a protect and switch into the Crobat, which is obviously now going to threaten me out, but I'm in a position where I can scout out what he wants to do. He's going to go for the Cross Poison, and now it comes down to another one of those predictable plays I have to make that Shroom is capitalizing on very well. He's exploiting the fact that I have to make these silly plays, these very silly, simple, kind of predictable plays, and it's quite frustrating actually, because if I'd had a bit more balls about me and predicted this switch in particular, which he's going to do. He's going to predict me to go out into Heatran, and he's going to go out into his Zygarde. If I'd have predicted this immediately, I could have been on the front foot here, because I could have pulled an offensive switch out into my Silvally and caught this Zygarde fairly innocuously, but I'm not in a good position to be doing that. I can't really do that because I don't want to risk making a bad prediction and then just allowing Mega Lopunny and this thing to clean up. But he's capitalizing on it, forcing me into a situation that I don't want to be in. I'm just going to protect for a bit of chip, a bit of, residual recovery. He's going to reveal the 1,000 Arrows, and I'm then going to switch into Silvally, who's been chipped down ridiculously hard in order to, take a hit. I'm just going to go straight for that cheeky Ice Beam, just hoping to maybe catch it on doing something, maybe outspeed it if it's like a slow coil set, but I needed to try and hit it with something. But at this point, Silvally is no longer switching. It's no longer a switch into Zygarde. It's no longer switching into pretty much anything. It's fairly slow. It gets outsped by a lot of his offense. I can outspeed the PriMarina, but that's it. And I can hit it with a grass move, but that's literally it. With a bit of chip, that thing goes down to Gallade anyway, and I make the decision here to sacrifice off my Silvally in exchange for more chip on the Mesprit, and to be honest, that's probably a good trade in my eyes. I could have parting shotted, but I would have just been losing momentum. And there's absolutely no reason to do that. It was either parting shot or play the momentum game, and I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to play the switch game and allow him to, you know, gain all that momentum. So at least this way I can, you know, make an appropriate switch to whatever he chose to bring in, and he chose to bring in the PriMarina. The PriMarina here is going to go for a Moonblast and another Moonblast, but I set up a Calm Mind aggressively, hoping for no crit. He doesn't get one, but he does get the special attack drop, which is going to come into play in a little bit. So I'm just going to wish up. I'm already at a point where I can just bulk this thing's Moonblasts fairly effectively. I can just take them. So I'm going to go for another wish here, I believe. No, sorry, I'm going to go for the Moonblast here because he's going to switch into the Crobat, and I'm going to catch that thing on the switch, and it's beautiful. Now, that marks a turning point in this game, because at this point there, at the point where he switches in that Crobat, I'm down 6-4, and that's very important for him to keep that advantage up, because as soon as he starts chipping me down, he leaves the game wide open for revenge sweeps from Megalopony and from Zygarde. I knew I had to start making predictions somewhere, and I'll be honest, this wasn't the option. This wasn't what I meant to do. I meant to click Wish there. I did not mean to click Moonblast. It was a misclick, but I'm claiming it as my own. I went for the Moonblast to make a prediction and get some offensive pressure. No, it was just a complete misclick, but it is very fortunate for me, and I'm going to take out this Crobat, and Clefable's going to get the first kill for my draft this season. But here's where that special attack drop certainly comes into handy. It certainly comes into play, because I'm now not at +1, which I would have been. I'm at neutral. I've just skipped over a fairly high amount, but yeah, because I'm now at neutral special attack, I can no longer one-shot Lopunny with a Moonblast, which I would have been able to do had he not got the 30% special attack drop on my Clefable, which is fairly frustrating, but it kind of ruined it kind of won him the game at that point. That special attack drop would have won him the game. A 30% chance to get a special attack drop would have won him the game there, but as you can see, he goes for his Iron Tail, which I would have lived. I would have lived the one. He goes for the Iron Tail and misses. So I get a free Moonblast off on this thing, and as you can see, it's not going to kill, whereas +1 would have. And he's going to go for an Iron Tail here, and he's going to pop my Babiri Berry, and as you can see, I live it. So I would have been able to live on, but he does get a defense drop, which is also fairly frustrating. He seems to be getting those added effects quite well. But in my opinion, Megalopony going down there to my Clefable was not me haxing him out, because in the end, he lost his... He got a special attack drop on my Clefable. Clefable would have been at +1, able to knock it out in one hit after living an Iron Tail due to my berry anyway. But because he got the special attack drop, you know, he was able to live one, and I was rewarded by justice in that sense. Shroom will probably feel fairly aggrieved at that, and to be honest, having seen the way the game has gone, I understand it, but I'm gonna hold my hands up and say, you know what, that was just fair. That was fair. That was the game evening itself out. You can say I got lucky. I probably did in that scenario, but if he'd have hit me with that, I'd have been a lot harsher. I'd have been a lot more upset about it. But hey ho, we carry on. And he's going to bring out the Zygarde, knowing that he can kill me from this point with 1,000 arrows. I have no choice here but to just get on out, and I have to choose what I'm going into. I decided to sacrifice off the Heatran because the only things he has left are probably going to outspeed it, and there's not really much point in me having this thing around when I have Earth Power for his Ditto to exploit. It was just a choice of what to sack. But now I go out into my Gallade, and I'm going to finally be able to Mega Evolve and start dishing out some damage. He's going to go out into the PriMarina as I'm going to Mega Evolve and hit that Ice Punch. Good prediction on his part. It does reveal to him that I do indeed have the Ice Punch as well, which he wouldn't have known at that point if not, and it's going to do nothing. But he is finally going to decide that PriMarina has run its course, and I can just finally smack it in the face with a Poison Jab. And that PriMarina, the pesky PriMarina, goes down. But now he brings out Ditto, and at this point I'm thinking, if you're a Scarf Ditto, I lose. If you're a Scarf Ditto, I lose absolutely, because you'll lock yourself into Poison Jab. I no longer have my Steel type around, so I can't block you out, and I will lose right here. So my only hope is to go for a Poison Jab and get a poison and switch and play around that. So I'm going to have to go for it here, but I outspeed. And I'm thinking, wait, you're not a Scarf Ditto. And I'm not going to tell you what the Ditto was, because that would be spoiling. So if you would like to know what this Ditto was, you will have to go over to Shroom's channel and check out. But after winning 2 speed ties in a row, I'm now in a predicament where I've won 2. Am I going to win a 3rd? Because if I don't win a 3rd speed tie, I lose the game. So I click the poison jab, and I go first. And at this point, the game is won to me. This game is won. I just have to click Ice Punch against this Zygarde, but I realise Zygarde has extreme speed. I do not want to risk this Zygarde extreme speeding me here and just dicking the game for me, because I won't be able to kill it with a Dragon Claw from this range. The Supersonic Sky Strike won't kill it from this range either, and Clefable's at too low health to start tanking hits from it. Even if I am unaware, I'm at too low health to be able to take hits and Moonblast it to the face. So I devise a cunning plan. If I can get into my Salamence and weaken it enough and lower its attack, I can live a hit with Clefable and Wish Protect on it. So I switch in, lower its attack with my Intimidate as he 1000 arrows me, knocks me to the ground, and I go for the Dragon Claw thinking I've just got to weaken this thing. I've just got to weaken it. At -1, it will probably not kill my Clefable, and he Dragon Dances. And I think at this point, I've lost the game. I feel like at this point, I knew it, I'd lost the game. So I have to go into my Clefable here. The only chance I have is if he hasn't done his speed correctly, if he hasn't calced his speed correctly. So I sack off Clefable, I go out into Gallade, hoping and praying, have you messed up your speed? He has not messed up his speed. There was no way in hell he was ever messing up his speed, even if he was min speed adamant, or like, I think he would still have outsped me from that range, and I'm at a position where I just lose the 1000 arrows. So you can say I choked that game away. You can say I tried to make the correct play in the situation. You can say all kinds of things about what happened in that game, but with the information I know now about what that Zygarde was, I choked that game away, because that Zygarde did not even have extreme speed. But in a way, I had no way of knowing that. You see a Zygarde, you see it's going to have 1000 arrows, you see it's going to have extreme speed, and you see it's going to have Dragon Move. You don't see that it's going to have... You know it's bringing at least 2 of those. I assumed extreme speed would be a thing. I assumed that's what he was hoping to do with the Ditto, so he had a game plan that won the game for him. And I lost because of that. So I can't even say anything more than that. I lost because he took advantage of my knowledge of that and my cautiousness, and he decided to win. He decided to just put the pressure on, Dragon Dance up, and just win that way. So I gotta give you absolute props for that. You had absolutely cold blood. Your blood was ice in that final couple of turns running through that. So all I can say, Shroom, you absolutely deserve the win. And fair play to you. It was a closer game than I expected it to be after seeing PriMarina dicked on me. Some questionable team choices on your part, especially with the Ditto, which I'm not going to spoil again, but make sure you go down and check out his side of the video to find out what item that was. And we're starting our PPL season with a loss, so we're going to have to come out of the traps pretty hard next game to try and right that as soon as possible. But anyway, I'm not going to dwell on it too much.